be talking about growth increases your capacity. To maximize growth, we must develop better systems. My name is Jacques St. Fleur, and we've got my co-host, Matt. What's going on today, Matt?
I'm doing well, brother. Thank you guys for tuning in again to Breakthrough Live. Our goal here with Tuesday evenings is to really make it a powerhouse 30 minutes about leadership, performance-based leadership, the components that help us take our careers to new heights, our capacity to new heights. And all of that starts with us being intentional about our growth. And so I know we're compressed on time. We're going to keep these to under 30 minutes now on Tuesday evenings. Tonight, we're going to be compressed down to 20 minutes. So it's going to be a power 20 minutes. Let's just dive in, man. This is a topic that you and I speak a lot about in the corporate setting is the law of expansion, right? Growth always increases your capacity. And we are never at our full capacity of growth unless you're dead. And if you're dead, you're not listening to us right now. And so that's what I want to talk about is really taking that can I to how can I? Right? We go through life with can I do that? Or even worse, I can't do that. And it's just as a small change to increase our growth capacity in just one little element, and that's how. How can I? How can I achieve something better than what I have right now? How can I keep climbing the corporate ladder and not stay stagnant in my role? How can I add more to the people around me? How can I put in more to my marriage? How can I be there more for my children? We can keep asking that. Then we go from a very pessimistic viewpoint to a growth-focused viewpoint of I'm not held back. Because at any point of time, I can pick up a book and read something and apply that knowledge and increase my capacity.
100%. I love how you started by saying we need to focus on saying, how can I? Too many people are so insecure with what they can't do that you hear a lot of people say, I can't do that. I can't do this. Well, don't start there. Don't start with what you can't do. Start with what you can do. And I guarantee you, if you stay in that box long enough, you'll figure out a way to get to that destination you have set.
So let's talk about 3 key points. We kind of put it in the bullet points for tonight's topic of how do we even increase our thinking capacity, right? And so the first question that I want us to think about as you guys are listening to us this evening is stop thinking more works and start thinking what works. And that goes back to, I think we were talking about that maybe last week of we live in a society that says do more, do more, do more. If you want to make more, you got to do more. You got to hustle more. You got to grind more. And that's just not true. There are systems out there where you can do very little and reap massive, massive, massive benefits. Prime example, look at every millionaire and billionaire in the world. They got really amazing systems, right? And if they didn't, then they would be doing more, doing more, doing more. And at the beginning, we have levers, right? We've got become more and do more. And it's a constant little battle of back and forth because when we don't have a large capacity because of our lack of knowledge or making it intentional to grow, then we've got to kind of fudge that a little bit by doing more. But when we stay in that lane of doing more, it will exhaust the living hell out of us. And we eventually hit breakdowns, right? We get to that point of just pure exhaustion of going, I can't take this anymore. I can't do this. When we get to that point, that's a real good indicator of the universe kind of giving us that little slap going, it's time to review the systems you have, refine them, and repeat them better going into next week. And that just comes down to this whole topic of expansion, right? Yeah. When we are focused on growing every day and learning every day, new knowledge, reading a new book, and not wasting our time thumbing through social media, being a consumer, but starting to look through the lens of being a creator of how can I add value to people, that's when our capacity bubble just starts to infinitely grow.
Yes, absolutely. It reminds me of a story back in retail about 7 years ago. And I was working in the outskirts of Boston, and I wanted to be around like those high paying clients. I wanted them to be able to come in and money's not a problem. And I remember this older gentleman came in one day and he just looked lost. Lost. He came with his like old school iPhone. It was like the first iPhone, but like 6 years too late. And I remember him coming in and he said, my son gave me this phone and I don't know how to use it. Can you activate this phone and show me how to use it? Man, when I tell you, he couldn't figure out. I mean, he was still using a flip phone. And I remember we're going through the phone, and I'm like, dude, this guy's not going to spend any money with me today. And I remember him feeling some type of way that he didn't know how to use a phone. And I remember him saying, "Do you have any kids?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have a newborn, probably about 6 months old." Have you heard of the product Safety First? I'm like, "Yeah, our car seat is safety first, and I think we have some other thing that is safety first." He's like, "Well, I'm the founder of Safety First." And I remember like, okay, you don't even know how to use an iPhone. How are you the founder of Safety First? But he had to share that story with me because he felt so embarrassed that he couldn't use a basic phone that he had to go and share his background. I remember him saying, "Hey, Jacques, one thing that you'll realize, I know you said you're going to college right now. You have a focus on entrepreneurial goals." And he said, "Listen, I'm not smart enough to keep up with technology, so I hire the best people in the business to be part of my staff. I don't have the knowledge to keep up, so I hire the best in the business to do it for me. I do what I do good. I go and I say, what makes this baby product so popular? What makes this one so affordable?" And I have all the smartest people in the room line up everything. So when I come in the next day, I can do what my brain does and keep things simple and say, okay, this is what makes this product popular because it's comfortable. This is what makes this product affordable. And I just tell my intellectual team, this makes sense. This will be a product that we could bring to the market. And I remember when he said, "Jacques, the best day of my life is when I had to sell my business." I come from a poor area, and I remember being at the Prudential Center, which is one of the tallest buildings in Boston. We were at the table, and they slid a check to me. I'd never seen so many zeros in my life. The reason why that resonates with me, because going through college, being a first generation American, you're always trying to compete with the best of the best, and you burn yourself out trying to be great in areas that's not built for you. So that story always resonated with me. You don't have to be the best at everything. You need to figure out what you do the best and grow yourself so they can grow your capacity. And oftentimes it's partnering with people who do it better than you.
Bro, I always think about this, when I think of expansion, I always think of bodybuilding. My 18-year career as a natural bodybuilder, competitive bodybuilder, and what works. Bro, I still go to the gym today every single day, and I see so many people and nothing changes day after day after day. They're doing the same motion, the same cardio, the same machines. Nothing's changing with them, right? They're still trying to lose weight. They haven't lost any weight because they're still going through just the motions. They're not taking time to go, you know what? This isn't working anymore. Maybe there's a better way for me to be doing this. Right. And when it comes to weight loss, the last thing I want people to do is cardio. I want them to do weight resistance training, because the faster we can build lean muscle mass, the faster they have the capacity of burning fat while they sleep. That's called stacking, if I've ever heard of it, right?
Yeah.
But when you do cardio doesn't necessarily burn fat unless you're in a very specific heart rate ratio, or there's certain ways to do it, right? But most of the people that you see are just walking on a treadmill for endless hours, every single day, and they're like, I just can't lose weight. I just can't lose weight. It's like, because you're not focused on what works. Right? Those are old school, antiquated, outdated methods. There's way better systems now for you to maximize your output so that you can increase the input that you're getting. And that's focusing on what works. But you have to ask yourself, you need to be intentional about taking time to reflect and actually ask yourself, what's working? And maybe the better question for some of us is, what's not working?
Mm-hmm.
What's not working in our business that we keep trying to do over and over and over? And if we're not taking time to refine that before we repeat it, then we're just bashing our head against the same proverbial wall, hoping for some chance to happen, and all of a sudden it will start working. That's not what happens. We need to become intentional about what is working. And so I want us to kind of jump into part 2 of this, because I know we're kind of like condensed on time tonight, because somebody got rad tickets to the LA Dodgers game.
Hey, I don't feel guilty at all Playing the Angels. I gotta book my stadium tickets because they're gonna tax me double price if I don't pay for them up front.
Yeah, right, right. So the second part of this, and we've already kind of touched on this at the beginning, is stop thinking can I and start thinking how can I. There's only one word difference here, but the perspective shift from where each of those statements come from is polar opposites, right? Can I versus how can I? One opens up the potential of opportunity for us, and one already puts a ceiling on where we're already at. And
Yeah.
and I remember early on when I used to say things like can I, or I can't do that, and it was like no, you can do that. We just have to figure out how. At your current level of thinking, you don't know how. But if somebody's already achieved it and they have a system you can invest into to shortchange me spending years of failed attempts over and over and over, and I can be like, wait, this person guarantees that they can help me with the system that they put in place, and look at that, they've already achieved it. I can expedite my potential to have success in this specific area if I follow and execute that system that they've already put in place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us don't, right? We invest in these weight loss programs or these business growth programs or these different components, and we're stuck in this area of lack of growth. Right. And that puts a very low ceiling on our capacity, because if we're not intentional about growing our knowledge and our not just our output capacity, but our input capacity, then we're not going to ever increase the capacity from where it currently is.
It's true.
And that's, some of us go through life thinking that if time goes by and we're growing, that we're instantly increasing our capacity and growth. And that's just not the case.
That's not the case. And to your point earlier, even talking about going to the gym, and I remember I finally had to pay for a personal trainer because what I was doing wasn't working. And I remember him asking me specific questions. I'm like, dude, I just told you I want to shred up. But he's like, dude, there's so much more to it than that. And I said, well, I like to hit the treadmill when I first get there. I hit the weights a little bit. He was like, but what's your end goal? I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're a good personal trainer. I already told you I'm trying to lean up. Well, he says, well, the workout you put together is not going to get you those results. He was like, you're running for 20, 30 minutes on a treadmill. Have you seen, let me ask you, what's the body type of long distance runners? He was like, when you look at people in the marathon, I'm like, they look like this. They look like a real skinny. He was like, you told me you're trying to bulk up and cut down, right? You don't need to be on a treadmill for 20 to 30 minutes. You need to, and that's where I first heard of HIIT training, right? You need to have, I don't even know what the acronym was, but I understood the concept. Yeah. I need to increase and shake up my workouts, not just have these long, mundane, let me watch Sports Center for 15 minutes while I walk on this treadmill. But once again, once you have a coach helps you gain clarity on where it is you're trying to go. And then he helps you put together actionable items to be able to get there. So to our point tonight, where that you're trying to get to, do you have a mentor? Do you have anybody who's sitting in that position now that can help you remove the distractions and help you make actionable steps to really get there? Because if you're still saying, how can I? That means you are a long way from getting close to starting. Once you arrive ready to show up, right, then you should have somebody who's able to say, all right, here's your next step. Follow up with me tomorrow, next week, and then same moving forward.
Absolutely. So check yourself. If you look in the mirror, if you notice that you say things to yourself like, I can't do that, or can I even achieve that? It's one simple word change, right? From can I to how can I? And so question 3 here is stop thinking one door and start thinking many doors. This is awesome for me. I remember when I was building with my father for many years, we always had, not always, we had disagreements on how we wanted to get to the end result on some projects, right? And me being the young buck on my way up on a journeyman, right? I wanted to prove that I could learn and optimize the way that we were building things. At the end of the day, if we know what the outcome is that we want to achieve, we need to remain flexible on how we get there. My wife calls it flexibly stubborn on your goals, right? Many of us, though, aren't clear about what the end result is that we're actually trying to achieve. Success is not an end result, okay? Making more money is not an end result. So if we're not clear about what our life purpose and passion is, right, what I call the intersection of greatness, and we're not clear of what that purpose and passion is in our life, then we start to see life through a very one-dimensional and one income type of lifestyle. But when you look at the most successful people in the world, they don't have one income financially. They don't have one way that they've added value to people. They have multiple dimensions. So they're not thinking that life only has this one door opportunity. It may work, it may not. Shut that door, open another door, right? But we have such fear in our society of failure, of success, of rejection, of putting ourselves out there and nobody listening. Nobody listened to you and I for the first year we were talking, right? We only get a couple during this during the lives, but we get hundreds of views in the replay, and we get dozens of messages throughout the week that we're hitting on the right different elements that we want to do. Right? We're doing this for free. We don't have to be doing this. I'd much rather be sitting by the pool this evening, or on my back patio, having a bonfire. But I'm at this new level in my life of contribution. We have built systems that we have seen massive success, not only in the weight loss industry, but building our international fitness brands and then going into other different brands. And so looking and seeing that, wow, life isn't just one dimensional. It can be multidimensional if we just take off the proverbial lens that we're looking through, right? And so stop thinking that there's just one way to do your job. There's one way to achieve the result. There's multiple different avenues and dimensions. And again, going back to the weight loss or lifestyle metaphor, it's like keto lifestyle versus nearly everything else, right? Keto is a completely different fuel that your body can run off of, ketosis, right? Which is beta hydroxybutyrate. That's what your body starts to produce, a salt essentially, right? So it's like diesel and gasoline. They're both vehicles, but they're completely different things that can do different elements, right? So in life, in our capacity of we're thinking about growth, think about expanding your ability to look through the lens of what you're trying to achieve more than just one-dimensional thinking.
Yeah, I love that. And to the point, right? Stop thinking one door, start thinking many doors. Myself in sales, and I know Liz can relate in the chat. She said she's sharing this with her sales team, especially in sales. As I have new hires that come in, I say, listen, don't get lost. There are 20, 30, 40. There's an infinite amount of ways to prospect for new business. So don't just look at, hey, what's the hot flavor of the day today, and you're always changing your approach every day. Figure out what you like, what works for you. I know for myself, once I moved into B2B sales, it took me a while. I looked at a bunch of people that were successful, and every week I was trying a different approach. And guess what? After 4 or 5 months, I still found myself at like ground zero trying to figure things out. And I remember one day somebody told me something that really resonated with me in sales. And it says, listen, Jacques, the reason why you're struggling in sales is you're spending too much time looking for customers. And that threw me off. Like, how else do you sell? Like, how are you selling without customers? He said, Jacques, you don't spend enough time building relationships with other people who also engage with your customers. Yeah. And it took me some time to think about that. So I said, wait, I'm like lost. Wait, so you don't call customers. So who are you calling? He said, well, I'm calling their partners, vendors that they deal with, people that they build relationships with. And one thing hit me. I was like, you know what? I've been playing it half-ass, doing a whole bunch of things that I wasn't really confident about. And because I wasn't confident about it, I was doing one thing at a time. Yep. But once I realized, no, my gift is relationship, right? My gift is being able to reach out and curate and help other people. Once I realized that, it didn't remain at one door. Now I said, how many people can I impact? How many relationships can I bring value to? So when I see that question, it says, start thinking about many doors. Once I understood many doors and I built it on top of what drives me, what motivates me, what inspires me, I felt like I became untouchable at at that point. Why? Because I found something that kept me up at night and not something that put me to sleep when people were talking about, hey, have you tried this strategy or that strategy? No, once you find what's built for you, then you'll really find success and you'll be bold reaching out to more than just one.
Well, and that goes back to point one of tonight, right? Find what works. Stop trying to do everything and start focusing on what is working and continually improve that system and process until you are reaping the benefits that you want. I always think about like inbound lead generation, right? We work with a lot of sales teams and in corporate teams and independent entrepreneurs where it's like their whole lifeblood is making sure leads are constantly coming in, right? And that's what I love. I love building those strategy systems for real estate companies and the different components that we do, because what it comes down to is they realize quickly that when you can work with an expert in that capacity of systems and strategy, you can actually continue to refine and increase the capacity that your team can grow when you stay in your strength zone, right? If you're a manager, we've talked about this a lot, right? Stay in your strength zone, hire third-party experts to come in and train your team in these other expert areas of, again, creating inbound lead generation systems and what are the different strategies for cold marketing. All of those components, man, they change and they're changing so quick. Yeah. So quick. I mean, you and I had this discussion I think on Saturday, right? I called and I was like, bro, as fast as we build these new systems, Facebook, Instagram, social media, all these different components that we use for Google ads, SEO, is changing constantly, right? Small sales teams, and when I say small sales teams, 20 and below, they can't keep up unless they have somebody dedicated to that one thing, but they don't have to. There's experts, right? That's why we built Founders Atlas Collective. It's a collection of experts in their own related field, you and I and others that have come together to go, dude, we've got powerhouse components that we can bring and go completely shake up these sales teams that are just stagnant right now in the workplace. I mean, our economy is changing. I don't care who you are or how you vote. It's changed dramatically over the last 2 years, and many of us have had to pivot way outside of our comfort zone. But that opens up a quote that I want to close with, and I know you got to go to the Dodgers game, but that's where John talks here. He says, the most common reason people don't overcome the odds is that they don't challenge them enough, right? And that's where we hit complacency. Like, you know what? I'm hitting my sales goals. My team's hitting their sales goals. If we just keep doing what we're doing, we're good. Why? Because if we keep challenging it, there's a chance if we challenge outside of what got us here that we might dip down a little bit. Yeah, but what happens if you dip up a little bit, you know, and you keep finding that 1% or that 2% increase difference that can have all the trajectory in your business? Oh no, dude, I think we hit a hang up. Jacques, you there? Anyways, if I'm still live, not sure if we're still live or not, but I know tonight it's a short. We've got a short amount of time. Jacques off to the LA Dodgers game, so hopefully that didn't glitch too much and that last little bit got put in there. But thank everybody for tuning in live again every single Tuesday, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. If you've got sales teams, let them know. Jacques going to be going live. I'll be going live. If you haven't joined our breakthrough group on Facebook, this is where we're going to be dumping. Every single month, we put in a couple new resources to help managers, to help team leads, to help those that want to increase their capacity at performance-based leadership success. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Matt Lowe with my co-host Jacques St. Fleur, and we hope to see you next Tuesday on Breakthrough Live.